It's lovely to see you all, as always. With these plays, I don't get to say hello to you as you come in, so it's kind of my hello is delayed. But hello. I know we've got lots of birthdays, and I know that lots of people want to chat, so I am not going to bore you with a long monologue, and we'll get cracking.
Nobody's ever bored by you. Janina, your birthday is today, I believe.
Yesterday.
Yesterday. Happy birthday.
Time zones.
Oh my goodness. Happy birthday. Everybody can get off mute and say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Janina.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Herzlichen Glückwunsch.
Happy birthday to you.
I gotta work on that.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, you better warm up those happy birthday lungs because we've got several birthdays today. How are you, Janina?
I'm good. I'm actually great. How are you doing?
I'm really glad to hear it. Good, actually. Thank you. Really good. And what are you up to?
I actually have probably the best news I've gotten all year, because after 3 months of radiation therapy that was completely useless, I'm cancer-free and in remission.
Oh my God! Congratulations! That's fantastic. That's really wonderful news. Oh my goodness, that is terrific. When did you find out?
Today. I got the call
wow.
10 hours ago.
And how did you find out? Did you get a call?
Yeah, they called me around 5 p.m. today, and I had the longest call with any physician I ever had. It was almost an hour long. I was basically smiling like a maniac all the time.
I mean, that moment, I mean, obviously the phone going at all must have just been terrifying, because you know what's on the other end of that line. What did he say right away, or did he leave you hanging? Did he come in and say, listen?
Yeah, he told me right away, thankfully. Wow. No suspense there.
That must be the best. Whew. And do you remember what it was like when you first heard the opposite diagnosis?
It was crushing, because...
were you on the phone?
No, I went... for the first one, I went in, and then for the second confirmation from the same hospital, I was just on the phone.
You should think so. Well, I can't congratulate you heartily enough. I don't know whether you drink champagne or you can just pretend, but you obviously deserve something.
You can ask Colin about the minutiae of what we call champagne and sparkling wine in Germany versus the UK and the US. There was a whole conversation about that.
I'm sure. Wow. Well, I just can't be happy enough for you. I mean, it's happier than.
And I actually have to thank you, you, Mel, the whole Sid City crowd, Colin, everyone essentially, because while these last 3 months were pretty much, I don't think I would have made it through like this without everyone here, without you guys, because that's just kept me going.
That's great. That's really great. Do you feel that? So you know, buzzing. Imagination is buzzing with like making plans.
I'm not sure I have arrived at that point yet. I'm still just like, wee, I'm alive.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's really, really wonderful. Well, I think you'll have to paint another mural as in celebration, just above something to mark this day. And it can be just very discreet, but like above the window up there or something, just something symbolic that you just don't forget this day, that there's something, such a wonderful thing happened. I'm sure you never would forget it, but brother, are we lucky to have you on the same day? It's not a happy birthday, it's Happy Life Day.
It really is.
Really, really wonderful. Well, don't go out and get COVID.
I won't.
Be super careful. Well, I'm thrilled. So, what do you want to talk about? I'll let you discuss it.
I would like to just have you move on, because I've been on last month and I've been talking to you. So let's have another one have the spot.
you'll defer your time to one of the other honourable people in the room.
Everyone.
Okay, lovely. Well, thank you, and thank you for the terrific news. I think you've made everyone's day today.
Happy Life Day, Deanna.
Friday.
Our next celebration is Chris West's birthday.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well indeed, thank you. How are you? How's Nashville?
Nashville is good. We had some warm weather and some rain, and it's now really starting to seem like time to start thinking about the garden, even though it's way too early to actually do much with it.
What's the temperature? Does it drop below freezing still? Is there a chance that it'll drop below
Yes.
freezing?
Yeah, it
So you
could
have-
drop below freezing for a few more months.
Do you start your plants inside?
Some of them, like tomatoes and tomatillos and peppers, I do, but like radishes and lettuce and things like that, no.
And I guess tomatoes don't really need, because they grow so quickly, they don't really need to be started this early.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've
yeah.
got a fairly long growing season here, so I can start in I usually start around the beginning of March. Do you grow yours
Yeah.
inside? Do you go to-
Inside. I mean, when I was in the UK, I had a huge greenhouse built.
Oh, nice.
Someone gave me a whole bunch of wood, as is like, in the country, people are always getting rid of stuff, and
Yes.
someone wanted to get rid of tons and tons of wood, and I was like, well, I can make a greenhouse. And so we made a greenhouse that's, pretty big. It's 25 feet by 15 feet. And I designed it and put, benches, and everything was written like the way I wanted it.
Nice.
And I could get a lot of things started in there because it wouldn't drop below freezing, even if it did outside, because it just it had a concrete floor, so it just hung on to the day heat and didn't freeze up overnight. So I grew lots of perennials and weird things like asparagus from seed, which took
Nice.
7 years. 7
Wow.
years to get a crown of asparagus, and then the asparagus arrived. But I would love to. I spent all day in my greenhouse, and then we had some storms, and I couldn't afford to keep repairing it every time that pieces of window got broken when branches fell off the trees. So I was like, So
Nice.
yes, I did, but it was a full-time job. That's all I did was, plant plants for the garden.
With that size of greenhouse, I can imagine it taking some time.
It did, and we have probably about, I would say, 2 acres of cultivable land.
Nice.
And mainly bedding. So my mother was this passionate gardener, and we inherited the garden, and I wasn't at all interested in the garden, but I became interested the minute, about 2 years after she died. We were like, right, we've got to do something about the garden. And it was like a jungle. And then I just rolled up my sleeves and got to work and learned what gardening was, and I just found it so pleasurable. But happy birthday, by the way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, when's your birthday? Today, yesterday, tomorrow?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Well,
Yes.
Can everybody, I told you better warm up those lungs because it's another happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Hey! It's your birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you,
Happy
everybody.
birthday.
Did you listen to one of our club members the other day who was talking about our bee expert, who was talking about building bee hotels?
Yes. Molly, was it Molly?
It was Molly.
Yes.
Do you have enough space for something like that?
That's something that I am thinking of, and my son really wants to get a honeybee hive. So he's taken a beekeeping 101 class, and he's got several books about bees that he has read. So I've told him that if he helps me this year with the garden and get some flowers going and things of that nature, then next year we'll get the honeybees, and this year we're probably going to look into some plans for some native bee housing.
I never even learned the name of plants. I had plants in my garden, I just didn't know what they were, but I kind of knew how to look after them.
That's useful.
It's too complicated. My mum used to know all the Latin names.
Nice. My son knows quite a few of them. He knows more than I do of the Latin.
How old is he? Do you mind me asking?
He'll be 14 next month.
Oh my goodness, that's fantastic.
Yeah, but
So
he's homeschooled, so he has a lot of time for some of his preferences, and he's very much a scientist. That's one of his favorite things to learn. So botany and zoology are two of his favorites.
Wow, and he's obviously probably a keen environmentalist as well.
Yes.
So what you up to? Are they dogs at the top shelf of your bookshelf back there?
On the top shelf, they're horses.
They're horses.
Yes.
Are you a horsewoman?
I used to be. I had a horse for a number of years. I had him from when he was 6 until he was 29. But he was a family pet, basically. But I took him on the trail, and my son and I would take our dog that we had at the time, and we take him out for walks.
It's the best way to walk a dog. I love riding. I mean, I only get to do it on movies, but because having horses, is a massive responsibility.
Yes.
But it's when I do, I get to ride the finest trained horses in the world.
Nice.
Because they've got to handle these crazy actors who get on top of them and don't know what they're doing. I don't know if you've been around movie horses, but it's really interesting what happens. It's because they rehearse the horse before they give the horse to us, so they know the scene and they know what's supposed to happen, and so they'll go through the motions that the scene is supposed to be that the scene requires, again and again and again. So that when the horse gets the actor just gets on the back, and the horse basically is an autopilot and just goes, where it's supposed to go and stops, unless the director changes his mind about the scene, which often happens. And then you need to be able to ride a bit. I can ride a bit, and it's just tremendous fun, except for when a horse is naturally I know this can't be true, but I feel that they can instinctively tell what you're planning, what your intentions are. I don't somehow believe there's any ESP in horses. It's an extrasensory perception. It seems a bit radical, that thought.
They're very observant. They can sense like how someone feels based on how they're moving, I suppose.
They definitely know awkward actors. They definitely know when actors are afraid of them, because they just become obstinate and they start taking control. And it becomes really difficult to do a scene with an actor who's afraid of his horse. But horses would often go crazy just because they're so smart on set, because they know about actors and acting and everything. They react to the word action.
Really?
So if a director says action, your horse will just bolt, will just go, action, we're off. And I'm, no, not yet. We're on in a minute, calm down. So you often see horses sort of chomping at the bit in the side of the screen because the director's shouted action and they're just going, whoop. Anyway, that's a long thing about horses. I've got lots of horse stories.
Pepper was very much like that. He was a very energetic horse, and he settled down in his later years, which was nice because Rowan, my son, wasn't very comfortable around large animals at the time. But Pepper had settled down so much that he was willing to walk with him, and he could lead him with the lead rope. He was about 6 at the time, and he was able to ride on him a few times.
You get to be uncomfortable around horses at 6. That's perfectly allowed.
Yes.
In fact, it would be weird if you were.
A big horse. He was an Arabian, but he was big compared to a 6-year-old child.
Yeah, absolutely. How many hands was he?
14.3, so just over pony sized.
Yeah, that's respectable. I just think that when you get on a horse, that sense of power and freedom is astonishing. Well, I'm really thrilled that you've had a lovely birthday.
Well, thank you.
And I'm very excited to hear more about how the garden goes, and especially your boy and what his plans are.
Well, he might jump on next month. He has a birthday at the end of next month, and he said he might jump on. He's not sure. He's not a big fan of cameras, but he might jump on.
Please let me twist his arm. Tell him I bite, but I can't because we're on video.
I will.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Here, everybody.
Weird. Okay, we're gonna go to Deanna next. Deanna is also celebrating your birthday.
Deanna.
Hello.
Hello, Deanna.
Hello.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
You guys
This
know
was
what
my
to do.
was.
Please join me in wishing you a happy birthday from everywhere.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Deanna.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
So what's going on in your neck of the world?
I did make a decision today, which I'm pretty proud of. I decided I'm gonna start playing again. start playing music again. So
Oh,
I was,
fantastic.
so there's one of the festivals I've been going to for about 10 years, and I've never played there. I've just gone as a participant. And
Yeah.
I decided that I'm going to do it this year. It's going to be virtual.
What? That's wonderful. What jogged you? What made you change your mind?
Well, I got sick. I have neurological issues. I have seizures really bad. And so I gave up playing. I play guitar and I sing. So, and then
Oh,
I
thank
decided that I gave up too much of myself and I need to
goodness.
really
Absolutely.
focus on it.
Don't give up the lovely stuff. Give up the stuff.
Well, I put it down when my neurological issues started affecting my rhythm when I was playing. But I
Yeah.
think I've worked through that now. It's been about 6 years. So, yep. So I
Wow.
went ahead and I bit the bullet and I accepted, and I'm gonna, hopefully I'm waiting to hear back, but I'm hopefully gonna be playing.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you feel comfortable, come and play for us sometime. We'd love that.
Yes. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah, that would be just divine. We named we named Django, our boy, after Django Reinhardt. What I loved about Django Reinhardt, what I found really inspiring, was that he had a terrible accident when he was a kid. You know about that. He burnt, his house was on fire and he burnt his hand and his left hand, I believe. And he still went on to be one of the world's greatest guitarists, you know. And you're wonderful too for making the same decision to just be determined enough to go along with your painting, because you paint too, don't you?
Yes, yes. Oh, I do have something to show you. And let me turn my, there she is. This is one of my goddess sculptures.
Oh my gosh, I remember the goddess work that you were doing last time.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Have you named her?
That's my Earth Mother. She keeps
I
me
was gonna say.
grounded.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's really beautiful. I don't know if you can see in the background here, but I have Earth Mother.
Is that what that is? I've always wondered what that painting is.
Painted by a pretty amazing, I believe, Polish artist called Wakovich. Is that in the right place?
Yes. Yes.
So you,
oh, that's
you've got very similar
beautiful.
stuff. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? And there, Elda is her name, and it's painted in 1968 when I was about 3. But it is absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I have always wondered, every time I've come on here, I've always wanted to see that painting.
So ever since I got into like Teutonic mythology back in my early 20s, I have always been fascinated by Elda and the Earth Mothers and, you know, the fates and all that stuff. I just found it like wonderful. But that's why I immediately recognized what you did, and I called it Elda. But I'm curious, what sort of music do you like to play?
It's folk music. It's a lot of Celtic inspired, mostly. But I spent a long time, for about 3 years, I was an opening act for heavy metal bands. Me, an overweight woman with an acoustic guitar, and I'd show up and open up for heavy metal bands, like death metal bands. But they would just keep calling me back, and I'd say, yeah, I'll be there.
You know, there's actually a lot of crossover between heavy metal and folk. So it makes kind of sense, because folk has its roots. I mean, heavy metal has its roots in folk. I don't know if you know, there's early groups, the British ones certainly, came out of that folk scene, and they just went at it a little bit harder than folk singers do.
Yeah.
Do you have favorite music that you like to listen to?
I like unsigned musicians. I like to really support the hardworking musicians that are out there, and they're in the clubs every week. They're tearing down the equipment at 3 a.m. and going home, and you know, I really like to really support that. I had one of my friends is Celia Farron. You can find her on YouTube. She's amazing. I had a long conversation with her tonight as well, and she was like, "Yes, I'm so glad that you're going to be doing this with us." She's been wanting me to for a while, and I've been putting it off, but
Yeah.
so
So you just need to get your confidence back.
I think so.
Yeah.
There for a very long time. We're talking. My seizures were upwards of close to 100 a week, so it was
Right.
really bad, and it
Right.
affected everything. It at times when it would that was one thing when the lady with dementia was talking, is something that I really relate to, because I've been in the situation where it'll hit that area of my brain and then there are no words that come out. And last time I played, when I finally said I can't do this anymore, I was on stage and it hit me, and suddenly I couldn't keep the rhythm with my picking hand.
That must
And I
have been
was like,
just
it was terrifying.
Yeah.
And nobody noticed but me, but I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was heart-wrenching. Even
Well,
if I have to have somebody else play guitar, I can still sing and I can still write my music.
yeah, and that's totally cool. And I'm sure you can also play guitar, because people are going to be pretty forgiving. You know.
I gave my niece my first guitar. I just gave it to her, so now I'm going to be teaching her how to play it, and so that's, it's the next generation, and I pass on the knowledge. And she's so talented.
Yeah.
So talented. She just amazes me every day. She's finding her strengths and she's finding her gifts.
That's that's sort of the time I began to realize, get my feet on the ground, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty hard to do that before then, very much so, because you're still buffeted by every slight current in any direction.
But this young generation, there's a lot of them out there who they see things differently, and their eyes are so open and their hearts are so open. They're so passionate. And I'm watching my nieces and nephews, and those walls are just coming down and they're moving forward in a healthy way. And it amazes me.
Yeah, that's great. We're in good hands. Well, listen, will you come back and play a song for us when you feel like it?
I will.
Will you? I'd love that. To something, then you can play it in front of one of those wonderful sculptures. Yes, I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
This is a great birthday, for real.
And your hair looks terrific, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Lovely to talk to you.
You.
Come back and sing for us.
So much. I will.
Thanks, Deanna. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right. Our next birthday person for tonight is Judita.
Judita!
Hello.
Hello. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
How lovely you look. Talking about hair. You look terrific.
I totally get what Deanna says about quarantine hair and trying to do the look on your own. It's not easy, really, it's not.
It's not easy.
I am missing my hairdressers so much.
Are you in the UK? Are you back in Italy? Where are you at the moment?
I am in the UK, so...
And you've been working?
I have been working. So
fantastic.
I can tell you how it's been live on set during the massive London lockdown, because this is the surreal part, because London is in complete lockdown. Like in my household, we are like 10 people, and I'm the only one who goes outside to work.
Right.
And everyone is like terrified of me, because
I was going to say, they're terrified of you. Yeah.
Because not only I'm the only one going outside, I work every day with at least 30, 50 people on set. So,
well, first things first, happy birthday. And let's get everybody to say happy birthday to you.
But can I say something?
Yes.
to spice up things, if you can shout happy birthday, but in your own language. So if English is not your mother tongue, please feel free to shout it in your own language.
Oh, of course, what a good idea. Happy birthday!
Birthday.
Oh, that's great. So what happens? So you go to work, you obviously had someone picks you up
Sometimes,
because there's no public transport.
we have very few public transport, so depending on the production, if I am lucky, somebody picks me up. Otherwise, I just need to have a Uber picking me up, paying on my own. Because of Brexit, I cannot even use my driving license anymore. So, like,
of course,
a driver, either paid by me or paid by production, picks me up and I go to work. I get tested almost every day. So my nostrils are like open for everything now. And then we are, depending on the production and how things are, we have a certain amount of rules that we either are very diligent to respect or not. It's usually not my call. I can social distance as much as I can.
Right.
But sometimes it really limits doing your job in a way that you really can't.
Just for the sake of everyone else here, Judita is a script supervisor, which means they work on pretty much every element of the movie in terms of continuity and camera, and they're the liaison between camera and the editorial staff, and they make sure the actors are doing the right thing. So that's what they do, just in case you haven't seen them yet. We know we all know each other because over the months we've talked together, but some people might not know and like what are you? Okay, there we go. Caught everybody up.
I love every time you speak about script supervisors and continuity. I love how you say, because a lot of times I had to explain my job to people in the crew because they think that my job is mostly the relationship I have with that department. So for actors, most of the time I'm just the person who knows their lines. So to have somebody who can understand and respect the fact that my job is literally like the liaison between every department.
Yes, exactly. Are people being very sensitive about space distance, awareness, masks? How does I mean, obviously every production is slightly different, but you know, normally everybody goes to craft service first thing of the day and has a big meal when they arrive, and they all sit in benches next to each other or in a caravan somewhere.
Masks are mandatory. That is something that is out of the question. Masks absolutely mandatory. And if you are one of those person that for other reason can't wear them, you can't be on set.
Right. And do the actors behave normally, or are they also trying to keep a distance and you're doing all kinds of, you know, cheap photography?
No, we really don't cheat photography, honestly. I think it's something that I've only been briefly on a production that was trying that, but it really didn't work. It looked really odd. And for me to match the eye line, it was impossible.
That's impossible.
Impossible. Obviously, we are here to protect the actors in every way because they can't wear masks all the time on screen. They can't. And so,
they're being passionate, you know, they're close to each other and being loud and or being, you know, intimate. Exactly. So that's that's pretty brave. So I will kiss you. I don't know where you've been for the last, you know.
Like I don't have to wear a mask, like one of those plexiglass masks, but like makeup, of course, they do, because they need to get closer and closer.
Have you? Because they also have in England, I'm told, in the UK at least, they have intimacy supervisors now.
Yes.
I don't think that has spread to the US yet, but I may be wrong. I haven't worked for a year, so I'm pretty out of touch. But that everything is kind of managed now, so that there is everything is, because it was a pretty fast and loose business before, wasn't it? You know, I remember the few sex sort of scenes I've had in my career. We kind of meet before the thing, and it's like, you okay with this? I guess. You know, do you want to? You know, do we kiss or not? How do you like to play this? And they're like, oh, whatever. You know, that'll be fine. Whatever we do, we do. And I'm like, okay, that's a vague. let's do this.
You know, some of the actors don't like the intimacy supervisor, mostly because it means an early call for them, because you have to create a choreography around the intimacy. So it means sometimes an hour early on the call sheet for them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, you always do have to. I mean, even, you know, specifically naked scenes of, you know, you really have to. They're so unromantic because you really, every elbow, every finger, every bit of you is micromanaged in some place to be doing something for the camera. And then you look to your left and there are, you know, 14 men going. And it's like, okay, hi guys, snap out of it. You're like, okay, I'm not feeling this, but let's go. So it's really a test of your acting, because, you know, someone's sort of putting up a light and his jeans are coming down and his ass is showing, and it's like, it's okay, you're only 3 feet away from me right there.
It's also a test on poker face on the crew side, because it happened once that I was like not the kind of conversation I wanted to have that morning, but you have to, in your kind of the most straight professional way. You're like, look, please, and you were more passionate in the other take. I need you to.
Yes, because you've done this 15 times now, and I've kissed this person's neck 15 times, and I've tried to nibble her ear 15 times. It just gets boring after like 8. No offense to all those actors, but that's just what it is. Gosh, yeah.
Do you miss, outside acting, but do you miss being on set?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to work. It's very practical. I absolutely need to start earning some money, because I'm kind of using pretty much every kind of emergency resource that I have and think of. I mean, you know, this has been great. So I get to do get a lot of stuff out, you know, this way, on these Zooms, and this has been pretty terrific. You can imagine, I get to talk like a crazy person to everybody, and so that has been really valuable. So I don't really miss the actual acting part. I certainly don't miss staying in hotels for sort of 5 months of the year, and waking up to the same menu every day, and, you know, all of that stuff, which is just really tiring. I'm fulfilled doing this. I don't feel like I'm missing something. No, I don't go, you know, I have some horrible thing missing in my life. Because I get to talk to all you know, lovely people, and most of them don't even know they're lovely, which is terrific. It's shocking. That's been a real pleasure. And how about for you? Is it what you thought? Are you much happier now, or are you like, oh, this is quite? Because I know you a couple of months ago you were like, I'm going to go crazy if I don't do any work.
I am happier in a way that my how can I say? I don't have the constant weight of thinking about the money kind of now. So that was a huge weight off my shoulder. So just the practical stuff. At the beginning, I was almost afraid that after a year, maybe I don't know how to do my job anymore. Maybe I don't have the eagle eye for everything and I miss stuff. No, I didn't miss the very early wake up. I didn't miss working 14 hours on set every day. But I think at the end, I really missed the sort of energy of creating something together that I missed. I missed a lot. The possibility that comes with interacting with people in real life. obviously without touching. I haven't touched a human being since I left Italy. So since September, I haven't touched it. Even with my flatmate, we don't. It's such it's such a surreal thing. But when you're on set, you can actually see how humans can create something. Yeah. And that was the sensation I think I was missing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm so glad you're back. I'm so glad you've got that. You've got your mojo back and you don't have to be so worried. Well, it's lovely talking to you. I might get one more person.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes.
Clap eyes on you again, Judith. So you're a sight for sore eyes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Judith. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
All right, our last guest tonight is Crow.
Yay!
Yeah, they've been in the background making all kinds of stuff for weeks, and now they're going to tell us all about it.
It's fantastic. Crow, it's a great pleasure to see you. How are you?
Good, I guess.
Yeah. Your connection's wobbly, just to let you know.
Dang it.
I'm sure. Okay. How's your partner?
Well, that came in just fine. I'm unmuted.
Yes, you are.
Dang it, Casey!
Oh, you just Zoom bombed Crow. Well, it's good to see you both. What's going on? I've seen you. You're so distinctive. So I often see you. And never. What is a multi-talented Crow up to these days?
Let's see here. Depression naps. More depression naps.
Oh, chainmail.
Yeah.
Is that a coif?
Oh, it's a sleeve.
It's a sleeve.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How do you how do you get there? How do you do that? Is it as painstaking as you think it is?
Well, first I coil wire.
Oh my goodness.
A dowel. And then I cut them all with a giant bolt cutter. And then I take a Dremel to eat because I'm that person. And I don't want things poking me. And if I'm gonna make something, I want to make it right. So
is it made of aluminum?
Yeah, it's aluminum.
Smart, because I've worn non-aluminum chainmail before. And
I know, and I wanted to ask you about something concerning that if it came up, because I've worn chainmail, and was it fitted?
It was. I've worn several kinds. I've worn it unfitted, and it was terrible.
But fitted takes a special maneuver to get it off.
Yes, and I couldn't do it myself. That's the beauty of filmmaking. Somebody does everything for you. So I just put my arms out, and then they just walk it onto me, and then turn me around and tie me up at the back.
Oh, it was one of those. Okay. Sorry, I was thinking about there's actually a historical maneuver, and it's based. Mel, I said sure because I was like, thumbs up. Very specifically, if this comes up, I want a visual aid.
Okay.
So that's the traditional maneuver for knights to get out of their chainmail.
Yeah, I've worn one of those too.
It's also great because Jamie has a fitted mail shirt that he wears as part of his Discworld. After like a long day at the convention, he's also wearing leathers underneath, and just walks to me with like his arms bound to his body, going, and we do a maneuver called Skin the Baby, where we just kind of, turn it out. And I don't know why we call it that terrible thing to call it. I think it's charming.
I have worn that one in Kingdom of Heaven, that I had to go upside down, while still standing up and wriggle up.
What kills me is that this is not the only image of this from medieval manuscripts.
It looks like you've got a very early Monty Python. What it looks.
I think like the caption is even like Douglas divests of his armor. Like,
it's really cool. It's very funny. Oh, God.
But yeah, I do not have to go through that. I am actually attaching these. What I'm doing right now is I'm hand stitching the leather. Chainmail is going to go on a leather vest that is going to go over my gambeson.
Oh my goodness! What is it you're aiming at? What's the
This is actually a dwarven cosplay from one of the many wonderful D&D podcasts out there.
Okay.
So I'm cosplaying as a character named Keg, which is great because I get to have like, it's a female character, but like I have sideburns and there's a cigar in her mouth at all times. Really fun outfit to do. I even do alcohol makeup and I stipple all these skin conditions all over my face. It's so much fun. I love making myself look ugly.
That is right on the street. That is very funny.
I wear kind of like a toupee thing that I did the hairline for because she's kind of gingery.
When are you able to get this done? Is this a virtual cosplay?
The thing is with Jamie and I, we take like a year, 2 years to make our cosplays. There are some people, they go for speed. They want it weekend so that they can be the first one to say first. Yeah. That's not our bag. No. So we typically will spend more time, more money on the materials so that we can wear these things for, I mean, Jamie's been wearing his Sam Vimes for how long?
Probably 7-8 years.
7-8 years. And he plans on aging into that because let's face it, Sam Vimes from Discworld is not exactly one you age out of. You only become more haggard and disenchanted with the world, but dang it.
Well, the good news is you can open a museum one day because you'll have such phenomenally beautiful couturied stuff that you've made.
I definitely want to work on film sets and things like that. I've done some work in the past doing wardrobe, but part of me is like, maybe you want to try doing armoring, being an on-set armorer, because I may not have all the stuff.
So refreshing to have you as an armorer rather than some of the dudes who turn
Is it a crusty old white man?
Very. It's a not all of them, but it's a very testosteronic thing. I don't think I've ever come across a
biracial, non-binary, lipstick wearing.
Surprising, yeah. I'm not saying they're not nice. I've never met an unpleasant person, but
no, I'm not saying that.
But they're very
just to be the reenactor types.
Yeah, it's testosteronic is the only word I can come up with. But
it's true. It's mainly because the reenactor kind of circle is that way. I mean, for the reenactment groups, we're not open to not men.
Yeah, it's like men get off.
To be on the battlefield for Civil War reenacting, I had to bind.
Exactly. And you're like,
yeah.
What? And who the hell are you? Shouldn't you
well, I was straight up told before I came out, I was straight up told that I wouldn't pass even if I did. I wasn't allowed to. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like, how?
I think we could do with an armorer like you, Crow. And it's a full-on job. I mean, it's a proper difficult job. Or you could the medievalist. But the kind of crossover is pretty tricky to get people just working on that sort of element. You pretty much have to do the whole thing in order to get work. Otherwise, it's just not practical.
I completely understand that, which is perfectly fine with being just wardrobe, which even just wardrobe is not exactly just wardrobe.
No. Well, I think that you definitely need to look into the armory thing because that would be amazing if that interests you. And you know what? We've got another 6 months of twiddling our thumbs.
Don't remind me.
Come on back. Don't leave it so long next time. I know it's tough to get on the list. That's the annoying thing, but we'll get that sorted. Well, I'm gonna go to bed in a minute, so I just wanted to make sure I caught you because Mel was saying you wanted to have a chat, and I'm like, yay! We haven't talked to them for years.
But I'm too polite. I'm always just like, no, it's next week.
Well, you don't get to do that anymore. Now, as long as someone knows, you have to come and chat.
It's not like I'm going anywhere.
To talk to you. You're one of my kind of core group of founder members changing my mind about important stuff in my life. So it's very, very grateful for that.
All right, well, get to bed. You're old.
I'm
That
old.
sort of thing.
I need to get to bed. Otherwise, I just turn into a pumpkin. I don't think that's I can't remember what they did. These
pumpkin.
People turn into.
Yeah, you turn into the Ziggy Stardust pumpkin. Thank you, Crow. It was good catching up with you. And with that, we're gonna say good night.
Night, everyone.
I love you all.
Wow.
Good night, everyone.
Sabrina chair.
Bye.